Hi, well, we want to welcome you to a rather different view on things, and we're talking a little bit about murkiness, and perhaps this introduction picture will give you an idea. You may have heard the saying, through a glass darkly. It actually comes from a verse in the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13, verse 12. It says, we are seeing now through a mirror in an enigma. Enigma, the English word, means something mysterious, something hard to understand, or a riddle. And here we have the word enigma, Greek word enigma, which becomes the English word enigma. So now we are seeing through a mirror, in an enigma, in a riddle, but then face to face. Now I am knowing of a part, but then I will know, just as also I am known. Very interesting, this duality that comes out in our existence, because there's a statement that it's hard to understand everything right now. It says, then I'm going to know as I'm... In other words, right now I don't know everything. I don't have all the answers. But someday I'm going to have a very clear understanding. It says that we know in part, it's going to be filled. The blanks are going to be filled in. But right now, we're kind of in a little bit of a muddle. One of the reasons for that, of course, is that we're not finally where we're supposed to be as humanity. We've talked about how God was a creator. And as we look back in the early words of Genesis, it talks about man being created in the image of God. And if you check Genesis 1, don't get mad at me about my language. It says male and female, he created them. So we talk about mankind. I'm not trying to do any gender exclusiveness, but what we're talking about is there is a way mankind was created to reflect God, to be an image of God. But then when you go on to Genesis chapter 3, you find out that mankind, us, we messed up in the garden and were excluded, and there was something about the presence of God that disappeared from their experience at that time. And so here we have a situation where people were made in the image of God, but then they had a problem where it wasn't so clear anymore. And as we go through our life, we find this constant battle. There's times that we or others, we can see we are having a good perspective on things. We know that something is right or good, but then other times we realize that perspective we have was not good or is not good, and how did that get to be a part there? What is it with me? Why can I do the most noble things, have the most noble thoughts, and then the next minute have not so noble thoughts and maybe not do such noble things? Well, this is, as the Apostle Paul tells us, there's sin that lives in us. It's a very negative force, and it's a war with what we know is right in our mind, and there's a battle going on. Now, we cannot get all of the answers in this life, but we were told that certain things are very clear. In John chapter 17, Jesus says, this is eternal life, that they may know you, God, the eternal God, and Jesus Christ, whom you've sent. John writes that these things are written so you can know you have eternal life. So God has provided us a way through Jesus that we can know that we are going to heaven. Or it might be a trite phrase to you, but that's what we're talking about, going to a place where the answers are. But while we are heading to that place, even though we know something for sure, that Jesus has saved us, that we are going to heaven, we will not face the penalty of the sin that's in us. He has taken that penalty upon himself. And so we will be someplace with the answers, but in the meantime, we're kind of muddling along. King David said, God, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. In other words, I can get from your word enough insight to go my next step. Everything else is pretty murky. I don't understand everything out there. I don't know too many steps ahead, but I can see clearly for the next step I need to take. So although we're living in a murky world where there's many things we don't understand, we have a conflict within us, and we definitely see this conflict in the greater world. There are some things that we can find clarity in. One is our relationship with God, and two, the fact that we can have some clarity in the next step we need to take. You want to talk about 10 steps down the road? Maybe not there yet, but you can have clarity for the next steps. Now, all those answers were missing. He says, then I will know, even as also I am known. We'll have all the answers someday. So right now, we keep saying, I don't have all the answers I need. Well, you're never going to have all the answers. But for the need of your soul, knowing where you're going, yes, the answers are there. For the need of our life experience, got to take it a step at a time and see how it goes.